Hey, welcome back to K Outdoors. Today, or tonight, since it's dark outside, I'm going to be sharing a little simple recipe with you. Blueberry syrup. I guess if you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen that I really love blueberries because I have blueberry bushes, blueberry plants, and we've had an exceptional year this year with them once again, and I do a lot of things with them, but tonight we're making syrup. I got some people wanting some that I'm gonna make some for, plus I'm out myself. I need some. The wife's making brownies in the oven right now, and it's really good on top of fresh brownies that's just been cooked. But I'm gonna share with you the recipe today, and it's real simple. I've got my jars here, they're already sanitized. It probably isn't gonna make that many, but I went ahead and sanitized a few extras. But all I do, I've got 2 cups measured out. It's just a little bit over 2 cups, but pretty much 2 cups of blueberries. Already washed. They go in a pot, saucepan, boiler, whatever you call it, in whatever part of the country you're from. To that, 2 cups of blueberries, 1 cup of sugar, shake it down. Oh, that's just right. 2 cups of sugar. Get it started on low heat. Get the hot water hot. I use about a 1/4 cup of warm water. That's just to get everything started. A lot of recipes call for more water than this. To me, it makes too thin of a syrup. I like my syrup to be like a syrup, a little thick. Not too thick, not too thin. And all I do is I keep this on low to low medium heat until the sugar starts to melt. Once the sugar starts to dissolve or melt, I'll cut this up to a medium boil. It takes about 5 minutes for it to melt good with me whisping it around with a fork. That's all I'm doing. Then I'll cut it up on medium and I'll let it it'll come to a slow rolling boil and start breaking the berries down and cooking them in. And I'll do that for about 15 minutes and strain it into a bigger container. I'll show you all that here in a minute when we get there. I'm getting ahead of the game. And another thing is I like to add just a little bit of lemon juice. About 2 teaspoons. 1, 2, 3. Yep, that's about 2 teaspoons. That's how I measure stuff. Let me stir the lemon juice in. I know if you watch anything on my channel, this so far has had everything to do with fish, but I do a lot more things than fish. And this has just happened to be the first time I've got a chance to make a video of something else that I enjoy doing. But anyway, hang around, this will be done here in just a minute. Alright, these things have been going steady now for about 18 minutes. And the next step I'm about to do is not necessary, it's just something I do. It boils them down pretty soft, as you can see, if you can see it. But I do like to take just a regular potato masher and make sure I get all the goodie out of the blueberries. I'm going to strain them anyway, so if any seeds are in there, it's not going to matter. It's not going to come out with the syrup. Just simply go around mashing them up a little bit because it's done. And that part is over. Put that in the sink. Now I always transfer and strain into another pot, and this one has the little lip. And that way I can pour from this pot into my jars without making a big old mess, because I'm known to make a mess here or there. And I've got these, and I've used them in the past. I use them with blackberries sometimes because blackberry seeds won't hardly go through the mesh on these. But I have found, last year actually, let me put these to the side, that using this, it's just a, you know, if you buy a brand new coffee pot, a lot of them come with these, and it is really fine mesh, and it's made to handle hot substances. So I strain through this into here to get the syrup. And then I can discard the rest into the trash once it cools off. And it doesn't allow anything to come through there I don't want in there. It's just going to be pure liquid. And so that's the next step. But I'm going to let this cool down a minute before I go to that step. And while I'm waiting on this to cool down a little bit while I can strain it, my wife's brownies she made just come out of the oven, and those things look divine. And the only thing these are missing is a little bit of that syrup across the top. Alright, here we are at the next step. And this stuff's still super hot. I'm just going to slowly pour this stuff. This is where I usually make a mess. And let it run through. And let the strainer do its thing. I may have to do this twice, because I used 2 cups of berries this time instead of 1. Just remember, no matter how many berries you use, if you use a cup of berry, use a cup of sugar. You use the exact same amount of each to make this turn out exactly the right sweetness. So although blueberries have sugars in them, they're kind of sweet in different ones, and I've got 3 different kinds I grow, but different ones are sweeter than others. They're still tart. And that's why you can add the same amount of sugar as you do berries and make a good syrup out of it. I still got room for more. And of course I dropped one on the stove. Those are actually good to eat, just like they are, like candy. Come here, fork. I just kind of mash them around with a fork or spoon inside the filter just to kind of get the last little bit squeezed out of it. Nothing fancy here, but this stuff is so good. Next step. This is the reason why I use this particular pot, because of the spout on the end of it. I can start filling jars up while it's still hot, and I'm going to show you why I do that. Right there, where that bottom thread is, you can see that ring where that thread is on the bottom. That's about as far as I go. I'm not sure how many of these I'll get. This is just the first go around. That's just simple. Installing the lids. Pouring it in hot like this, and get your lid set, make sure it's seated. Snug it down good. Most of the time I don't use a canner like people use to can stuff with, but using a hot liquid and snugging these down like this, just snug, not real tight. Here in a little while I'm going to hear a couple of these lids are going to pop, and they're going to set themselves. When that happens, I can store these on the shelf in a cool dark area for quite a while. If it doesn't set, I'll put them in the refrigerator and keep them cool, and they'll work good that way. There it is. And that's all there is to it. It's a real simple recipe. And I'll say it one more time. I used 2 cups of blueberries, 2 cups of sugar, 2 teaspoons of fresh lemon juice, and a 1/4 cup of water. And I used hot water. That way it starts the sugar melting while I'm waiting on everything else to warm up on the stove. And there's your very simple blueberry syrup. It goes good on ice cream, brownies, cakes, any sweets. If you got a sweet tooth like I do, you can pour it on about anything. Pancakes, waffles. And that's today's video. Hope you enjoy. Thanks for watching K Outdoors, and God bless. And here's what I do with the leftover berries after they've been cooked down. My wife's gluten-free brownies that she makes. Oh yeah, it's gonna be delicious.